The short of the story is that William Wallace, age 30 at the time, beat his wife Za'Zell Preston Wallace, 26 at the time, to death. And that in itself isn't extraordinary. Men kill their wives, ex-wives, girlfriends, ex-girlfriends, all of the time. What was extraordinary as far as media was concerned, what caught international attention, was the fact that he did this on Christmas Eve, and then he pulled her body out to the couch in the living room on Christmas Day, put sunglasses on her, and told the children that she got drunk and ruined Christmas, and videotaped them opening presents on Christmas Day in front of their mother's corpse. If you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. My name is April Hardy. On this channel, we've been talking about all things domestic violence. In this video, we're going to continue talking about intimate partner homicide, which far too frequently is an end in domestic violence. Za'zell Dominique Preston of Anaheim, California, was known to family and friends as Zizi. She was a proud mother of 2 daughters from her previous relationship and a 7-week-old son who was William Wallace's. Zizi was the daughter of Larry Preston and Za'Zell Preston Williams and the granddaughter of Sally Baker. She's survived by 2 sisters and 3 brothers. Zizi was a talented dancer. She was a beautiful woman, and she was a student full-time at Cypress College, focusing on becoming a domestic violence counselor at the time of her death. From what I read, she wanted to be a domestic violence counselor, at least in part because of her experiences with William himself. Relatives of Zizi described Wallace as controlling and violent. They said that he had threatened to kill her on several occasions. Her grandmother testified to finding Zizi laying in the fetal position in the street after one beating, and on another occasion receiving a call from her while she hid from Wallace in a convenience store bathroom. And that was after he had beat her and she was able to get away and he was chasing her down. William had served jail time for beating Zizelle in the past, and she actually had a protection order against him until he convinced her to move back in with him. Prosecutors said that William Wallace used blunt force trauma to the head of his wife, rendering her unconscious between December 24th and 25th, 2011. And when we're talking blunt force trauma to the head, it seems that he probably hit her some. He also dropped her once or a couple of times, and apparently her head got hit on the toilet at one point, as well as her dropping into a glass table. There was a whole bunch of things that were going on in her final moments. Prosecutors said that neighbors heard the 2 of them arguing and yelling that night. Wallace reportedly told Preston's family that they were drinking, and during the argument he tossed her around a bit. The simple fact that he was willing to tell her family that he tossed her around a little bit speaks to how okay he was with that behavior. And it wasn't new for them. Had it been something they didn't know anything about, he would have probably been a lot less likely to tell them. Yeah, I smacked her around a little bit, tossed her around a little bit. It wasn't a huge deal. It's always a huge deal. So that speaks to how far along in this really negative, violent cycle they were. According to reports, he tossed her around a little bit. She fell into a glass table, shattered the table in front of her 8-year-old daughter. So he picked her up, drug her into the bathroom, and he had the 8-year-old daughter help him pull glass out of her mother. Then he put her to bed. That 8-year-old daughter, who is now 17, testified in court that she believed that her mother died after hitting her head on the toilet when they took her into the bathroom to get the glass out of her, because when he put her into bed, she was cold. He then got her up the next morning when the girls were ready to open presents, drug her mom out to the living room, put sunglasses on her, and told the girls that she had gotten drunk and ruined Christmas. And then he videotaped them opening Christmas presents in front of their mother's corpse. According to reports, he wasn't able to keep this ridiculous story going for very long, and by 9:30 in the morning he called 911. Apparently there's a little bit of difference of opinion as far as who called. I don't understand. You would think that they would have record of that with the caller of 911, but he maybe called, maybe he didn't call. The ambulance was called, and when the EMTs arrived, her body was still sitting on the couch and still had the sunglasses on. Now, if he called to get her medical attention, you'd have thought he would have at least removed the sunglasses. You know, he knew she was gone. According to the media, Wallace had tried to talk his way out of it by explaining how she accidentally fell into the glass table when she was drunk, like he had nothing to do with it. And that didn't go over very well, and police arrested him shortly thereafter. Apparently, he told several people that she suffered a concussion when she hit her head when she fell into the glass table, and then he only realized that she was dead when he woke up the next morning. Apparently he had been drinking also, that they had both been drinking, so that part was accurate. Maybe he knew, maybe he didn't. But he was arrested immediately, and he has been incarcerated ever since then, looking at facing up to 25 years to life in prison. He was held on $1 million bail since Christmas Day of 2011. On April 7th, 2021, he was finally actually convicted of second-degree murder, and he will be sentenced in June of 2021, as of right now. Why it has taken that long, I have no idea. He was convicted of second-degree murder within a day. And if he videotaped the girls opening presents in front of their mother's corpse, it would be very clear that there was nefarious things, even if he fell asleep and didn't realize that she was dead until that morning. It still looks very much like a cover-up. You wake up, you find out that your wife is dead, so you put her on the couch and let your kids open presents in front of her. Give me a break. During the trial, the oldest daughter, who's now 17, said that they were arguing when they returned from a Christmas party on Christmas Eve, and described how the confrontation slowly turned physical. So it started out verbal, but there was definitely a history of violence and abuse. The daughter described Wallace as pushing Zizelle into a glass table. He then asked her for help to pull the pieces of glass from her body before he carried her to the bathroom to clean her body up. In the bathroom, he dropped Zizelle with her head hitting the side of the toilet seat. So even at that point, after he was done beating her in the head, he dropped her in the bathroom. Doesn't seem like he was really too concerned about her well-being. The daughter said that when she and her younger sister woke up on Christmas morning and went out to open presents, he dragged Zizelle's body out onto the couch in the living room in front of her daughters and put glasses on her. And then she said a couple of things that they quoted her in, which just breaks my heart. She said after she hit the toilet seat, and I think she passed away, he just took her to the bedroom and put her down to sleep while she was deceased. That's what I remember because she was cold. And she said, I remember trying to touch my mom on Christmas Eve, or Christmas morning. She said, I remember trying to touch my mom and she was just rock hard, cold. And I said, Mommy. And she didn't respond. And my heart breaks for these kids. He said to my partner, homicide cases are always hard. I try to hold myself together when I'm doing the videos because I don't want the videos to be about me. I want them to be about them. But I was talking to the counselor earlier, and so I'm doing this video right after a panic attack from talking about this and other stuff in my mind. And I was telling her, you know, when I was a teenager, I was raped on Christmas Eve one year. And every Christmas, I remember it. That's nothing new. That's just trauma and abuse. It's definitely not the only time I've been raped. But when I put myself in the shoes of this 17-year-old girl or her younger sister, I know that the things that they saw are never going to go away. And I know that every year they get a reminder. And that breaks my heart for them. And I know how easily that could have been me. And how easily Zizelle's kids could have been mine. We're not different. God just allowed me to live, hopefully, so that I could be a voice for those that aren't. And I will try not to make videos about me, but I need to figure out how to find that balance between not making them about me and not being some detached reporter from the news who doesn't understand, because I do. I understand in a way that a lot of people who are alive can't. And that's why I want to bring you these stories. That's why I want to be a voice for these women who aren't able to be a voice for themselves. I also want to add in here, because it pissed me off so much, and I see a lot of this also. And I realize this is this person's job, okay? I understand how the legal system works, but his attorney, Heather Moorhead, and it's convenient that he got a woman for an attorney. Just saying, I am sure that was strategic. She said that Preston's death was, quote, heartbreaking, but not Wallace's fault. She said, quote, both of them were drunk, and the injuries that ultimately caused her death were not caused by Mr. Wallace. She also said, quote, there are no facts in this case that show Mr. Wallace intended to kill, end quote. Maybe not. He woke up that morning and decided he was going to kill his wife that day. But he had already expressed multiple times that he intended to kill. She had already had a protection order against him before because she was afraid. Did she make every right choice? No. Most of us don't. There are so many factors that go into why somebody stays and why they leave. And in this case, while it is often more dangerous to leave and for a while after you leave, in this case there really wasn't a difference between the danger of leaving and the danger of staying. It was just dangerous, period. And people from the outside can judge whether somebody makes the right choice or the wrong choice in situations like that. But ultimately, it is the person who is the victim in that relationship. They are more critical of their choices than anybody. And they are trying to stay alive. And they are trying to protect their children. And they are making the best choices that they can in that moment, based on what they know. They're trying. Zizelle's daughter did testify in court that she watched her mom trip and fall into the glass table. So there was that. She said that she fell into the glass table before Wallace was able to catch her. But even still, he knew that his wife was bleeding from the head, and he didn't call emergency services. He didn't call because had he called an ambulance for her or taken her to get help, they would have figured out that he had assaulted her and he would have been in trouble. So instead of doing that, he put her to bed. Now, whether she died, like the daughter believed, in the bathroom from hitting her head on the toilet, or she died at some point in her sleep from head trauma, ultimately, she died because, at the very least, he hurt her, caused head trauma, and didn't get her help. At the very least. He's still responsible for killing her. Rest in peace, Zizelle.